Well, having worked with other companies throughout 2010 and 2011 on various different productions, all different types, all different styles and genres, it occurred to me what was missing from the market as opposed to what was actually still being dealt with. I dealt with pantomimes and really dark plays and really long involved productions that were full of intricate information, but what I really liked about it was that there was nothing in the market at the time that was catering to people who like short plays or people who didn't necessarily have the attention span for doing really long, arduous theatrical productions. So when we started out doing Theatre Soup, it was always a case that we were going to do lots of little short plays that all had nice 30-minute sections, all very different in tone, and would give the audience something different from their usual theatre experience. I was really nervous. The thing that I never really considered was that I thought it would be a case of I would write the shows, perform them in local venues, and that would be it, no problem at all. Unfortunately, you fail to take into consideration all the technical aspects, and all the sort of financial things that come along with running your own company. You have to provide costumes and rental hire, and you have to pay for your sets and everything else. There's a lot of financial things that come along with it, and you hope you'll make that back when the shows are successful. So you do take a bit of a gamble. But I had absolutely no gamble with regard to the cast that I'd picked, because every person that worked with Theatre Soup had worked with me on previous projects, and I knew that they would be absolutely brilliant. Every single actor who came on board in 2012 when we first launched our first series of shows, which was a series of 3 shows called And Now for Something Completely Different, what basically happened was I had worked with each of them on various different shows, knew that they had the dramatic or the comic skills that I would need to bring to the party when it comes to the shows, and every one of them was just so happy to be involved. It was really nice to have built up this clientele of absolutely brilliant actors who all wanted to be involved in something different. Oh, well, if I had to pick one word to describe the cast that I've collected, and obviously the people who joined us over the years, it would have to be eclectic. Every single person in that group has a bigger than life personality, but they're also incredibly gifted actors, whether it comes to the comedy, drama, or other things that I've made them do. They each have a brilliant physicality on stage, they all work well with each other, and I think it's nice that whenever I write a script, I'm confident that as good as the script may be on paper, every single person will add something to it. There's always some colour or some life that they bring to it that ends up making the final production so much better. Gutterflower was a really interesting idea. We knew that we wanted to do something that was dramatic. We knew that we wanted to do something that was current. So the story evolved from there. The story of Gutterflower is about a young girl who is abducted, an 8-year-old girl who's abducted from outside of her Glasgow tenement block. She has 2 alcoholic parents and a society that's sort of broken down and doesn't really look out for the people around it. The play itself has a lot of social commentary, and it also is punctuated with little poetic stanzas throughout the show just to kind of add a bit more gravitas to the production. But the actual story itself was quite dark. Obviously you're dealing with really heavy themes, but the nice thing was that I knew everybody would step up to the plate when it comes to dramatic stuff, and we used that as the first show out of the 3 to really showcase what we could do as a company. Well, the nice thing about Rest in Peace is that it had some comedy, but it was effectively a horror movie. So it still had the darkness that we'd established with Gutterflower, but it was a different kind of darkness. It was a different kind of drama. It was more about having a lot of technical things ready, for the scare element for the audience, and having the actors react a certain way, when there's ghosts in the room or ghostly happenings happening in the story. So it was a very different kind of approach that we made to that particular show, but it still involved a lot of drama and a little bit of comedy as well to sort of punctuate it. Well, People Watching was an out-and-out comedy. Now, by this point in the production, people have seen a really heavy drama, quite dark but funny horror story, and we'd now moved into just pure, unadulterated, broad comedy. We set it in a charity shop, and it was very sort of modern day. Everybody had a character in there that you could probably relate to, but each of those characters was larger than life, really colourful, had very colourful language, very colourful backstories, and very colourful costumes. We just wanted the whole thing to be really, really funny and relatable, especially with the first 2 shows being quite out there and quite dark. Well, there was a considerable amount of time between the first shows and the Giggle Palace. We did the Giggle Palace in November. We had quite a lot of rehearsal time for that particular production, because the thing about the Giggle Palace was it was a combination of live theatre and stand-up comedy. I had considered what it would be like to do a show about a failing Ayrshire comedy club that was basically on the downslide, and the parts where we had the comedians coming in and doing the stand-up meant that they could perform their own material, which was a showcase for them, furthering the idea that TSUK would be good for the local community. But also we had these brilliant little stage moments where the cast that we've got, who'd already proven their worth in comedy on people watching, were able to come in and do something that was absolutely hilarious. So the audience were getting live stage comedy, stand-up comedy. They were really getting more bang for their buck, basically. But it was a really interesting thing, and it's something that I've never seen anywhere else where they mix the two. I think the shows in 2012 were definitely more of an experiment. They were ways of us making sure that we could gauge the audience correctly, that there was a market for the kind of things that we were doing, but also that we knew that we'd get repeat business. We left a bit of a gap between the first 3 shows and the Giggle Palace, which meant that people were still hungry for the productions. We were really happy to have the Giggle Palace coming on a little bit later, and we got a really good audience, a really good turnout. People really responded to it, which was really nice. We ended the year on a real high.
I'd been working along with another company, and Dale was involved in doing writing for them, and when he decided to go it alone, he had a character in mind for me.
That was when we were doing 2011's Conversations with My Conscience. Yeah, that's right.
It was a really good play. So I was excited. It was one of the most exciting times in my life, been involved in Conversations, so I was quite eager to continue on that path. Deal.
Thank you. It was nice as well for me, because it meant that I knew, coming off that drama, the drama about Conversations was about a woman who had been murdered by her husband. There's an awful lot of dark themes coming up in our shows. But what happened is your character had been murdered, and then one of the sons had murdered the husband that killed you. So there was real high drama in that particular production, and coming off that, I knew that you'd be able to handle the dramatic stuff. I think the comedy was where you really shone, which was really interesting. We brought you in as a dramatic actress, but
I think I was certainly stretched into something that I would never have done before.
But you've been happy to keep doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Exhilarated, excited, colourful. She was a very, very colourful person, and she appealed to me quite a lot, because the type of comedy that I actually like watching is like what I would call classic British comedy. It's quite clean, you get a good laugh. There is a lot of innuendo, but if a child was there, it wouldn't offend your granny or a child.
The character was quite broad as well, do you know what I mean? So a lot of it was physical comedy as well for you, which I think you liked as well. And
it was a bit of a wee kind of dream. Everybody, who wouldn't want to be in a carry-on film in the canny, so...
It was certainly a good experience.
I met Dale when we were doing a pantomime, where he was playing, you were like the princess.
That was Dandini.
Man, yeah. And I played like Captain Hook, a slutty nun, and like one of the prince's girlfriends.
When we did Like a Virgin.
Yeah, that dance.
That was so funny.
So that's how I met Dale, and then he asked me to come and do, it was Gutter Flower, Rest in Peace, and People Watching, because they were all in the one. And I did it, and I had great fun.
It was good laughs, good times.
It was actually really horrible, because obviously it's something that you don't really like to think about, like a young girl getting kind of taken away by a strange old man. So it was really kind of horrible. There was one part in particular, one of the scenes where I got like physically dragged off by Derek, and I had to scream for my mum, and like that was just horrible. It's just.
But that was really funny because that wasn't in the original script. It was
yeah,
really...
that just happened in rehearsals, didn't it?
And we thought that was such a nice moment in the respect of the story.
Yeah.
Because we were all sitting with like chills watching it, and, we're like, and it's funny how just one word can make such a big difference to the tone of that particular
just
scene.
the little girl shouting for her mum. So yeah, it was a really good opportunity to play a role like that, but it wasn't nice getting into that kind of headspace and stuff. It wasn't pleasant.
Oh well, we'll give you a better role since.
Yeah.
I first met Dale in 2010 when he had written a pantomime, an adult pantomime. I was in fact almost 8 months pregnant at this point.
We got you in to play a genie.
A genie, yeah.
That's right. That was our adult version of Aladdin.
Yep.
That was really funny. That really bonded us as people, I think, and we continued to work together throughout 2011 when we did the Beyond Good and Evil showcase. And then she was one of the first people I thought of when I was doing TSUK, because I knew that she could do comedy and I knew that she could do drama, and top of the list, absolutely.
Just perfect.
Absolutely. Oh, well, you keep coming back. She's actually our longest serving member. She's been in every show.
I think so, yeah.
And we've done 17 now at the end of 2014.
That's scary.
That is really frightening,
scary.
but good times.
Yeah, definitely.
Very much so.
That was probably one of the hardest parts I've played, actually. Having to show kind of breakdown in your own mental health it's quite difficult to do. It was a challenge that I fully accepted though, and gave it my all.
And to do it in such a short time, because it was one of our half-hour plays.
Yeah, definitely.
So you had to show that you were at first this really fully functioning person, and then slowly life just sort of battled you down, and nobody else could really understand why.
No, It was difficult, but we had a laugh doing it still.
Absolutely. One of my favourite moments was the rehearsals. I think that comes up in another question, so we'll leave that for that. Yeah. It was really, really fun. It was a lot more comical for a horror than it should have been, potentially. But it was really, really good fun. Absolutely.